Hello and welcome to Earth Dragon Art. Thank you very much for joining on this video. As you may or be aware, previously I started off a picture called Sparticus, and it was in memory of the late Kirk Douglas, who passed away earlier this year. And it's an ongoing project, so it's still a work in progress. But I thought I would share with you the second part of that live stream that I did on Twitch, where I'm just sketching out his most famous gladiatorial outfit from the movie Spartacus. So this video has been shortened a little bit, not massively, but it's shortened from the original live stream. So I do hope you enjoy it. And if you do, be sure to give it a thumbs up so that more people who like illustration or this kind of artwork can really enjoy that piece as well. And people who might even remember the late Kirk Douglas may get some sense of nostalgia as well. I hope you enjoy this piece, and I'll catch you at the end for a closeout. Hello, good evening. Again, I am really sorry to keep you guys waiting. I hope you weren't getting too bored over there. Yeah, as I've just said, basically I was going to try and stream this on my YouTube channel. It worked. Part one worked fine, was able to do it, but for some reason part two, basically, some of you may or may have heard in the news recently, Kirk Douglas, the late Kirk Douglas, passed away. He's the father of Michael Douglas, who a lot more, probably the younger generation, probably more aware of him than his dad. But I grew up watching, the Vikings, Spartacus, and numerous other films. I think he even did a sci-fi film called Saturn 3. I'll have to double check that, but I believe he did a film called Saturn 3. I don't think it was that great in film, if I remember right. I think it was him and Farrah Fawcett. But I'll need to check that. I will check that. Maybe I'll Google that during the break. So I thought it would be good. It would be good to, in his honor, in his memory, to do a picture of him as Spartacus, which is where this particular piece has come from. Try and give you a bit more view of it if I can. So I started this last week, and it was a good start. I'm not portraits are not my forte. I have to say, I'm more fantasy, sci-fi, that kind of thing. Let me turn. That's still a bit loud, isn't it? Let's bring that down a little bit. Yeah, sci-fi, creatures, characters, more my forte. Portraits, not my strong suit, and it's something I probably need to work on a little bit more. But that said, this was what I started last week, and I was quite, considering I only had a small picture of him, which is this guy. Let me see. I'll try and show you. I was using this one last week because I couldn't find the other picture I had. Let me just try and get it so you can see it. This is the picture I was using as a reference for this particular character, but it didn't quite, I think I more or less kept his essence on it, but there are definitely things I need to tweak on it and change. For one thing, the head's just a little too large, but that's something I need to fix, and the hand's a bit too large as well. But these are little things I'm still working through. It's a work in progress. But for the most part, I was quite pleased with where I'm at the moment, and it's a good starting point. But I also managed to find the bigger picture, which is this one here, which is the full color version, which is the one that inspired me to do this. So it's a little bit clearer. I can see more of the proportions and everything else. So hopefully the two images there will help me to kind of refine this a bit more and fix the things that are missing. And I thought it would be really good fun to just kind of do that, carry on that today, and see how far we get. So without further ado, I'm going to get into it. Right, so as I said, I've got one of the first things I need to do is just thin out the head, because the head is it's just a little too wide. So I need to bring that in a bit. So that's the first aspect of this I need to sort out. And also the eye's not there. It's kind of an awkward angle as well, this. But I hope everybody's all right tonight and surviving in our current coronavirus situation. Obviously it's quite a serious thing, and I know a lot of people joke about it, but obviously it's quite serious. But sometimes I do think these things can get a little out of hand. However, I think it's always good to be safe. You know what I mean? It's always good to at least be aware of the illness and stuff like that, to make sure that we're protecting ourselves or whatever. So it's really important to keep, see, already the head's better. So at least we're being, we're being cautious and everything else. I mean, I'm not a historian, but I know one of the things back in UK history, certainly, we had this thing called the plague, which I believe is where the Ring a Ring a Roses song came from. I know Americans sing a tissue tissue, but it's actually no, is it tissue tissue? I can't think what it's called. But Americans sing the song slightly different than those in the UK. Yeah. Yeah, what is it in Americans? Because we, Ring a Ring Roses, tissue tissue. Yeah, in the UK we sing a tissue we all fall down. But I believe American sing something slightly different to that. Can't remember what it was. Ashes, that's it. They think ashes, which always baffled me. I'm not quite sure why there is that differential, why Americans sing ashes when it's a tissue. So, if anyone knows, if anyone out there knows why the Americans sing it differently, I would be interested to find out actually, because it always kind of bugs me. When you hear a song and it's supposed to be sung a certain way and people sing it differently, it always kind of bugs me. Or they say a saying and it's all wrong. Although with that said, sometimes I've got a bit of a habit where I try to play with words a little bit, just to have a bit of a laugh with them. See, funny enough, it's already changed the way he looks. He's always changed. In fact, that chin's probably a bit too small there. But I do those things to add a bit of difference, add a bit of creativity and be a bit more original. Be a little bit more original. Okay, so I'm gonna change his mouth a little bit, just slightly, because he's kind of got a bit of a smirk on him. I think I made his mouth just a bit too wide. And in fact, kind of goes up a bit more. As I say, portraits is not my forte, but also because of that, it's not my favourite thing to draw either. Usually, if anyone's watched any of my channels or my YouTube videos, whatever, you'll probably know that I'm not really big on portraits, and I'm more of a sci-fi kind of guy. That's what I tend to sort of gear towards a lot of the time. In fact, let me just get rid of that bottom lip, because he's meant to have kind of a mean looking face. He's kind of got a, he's like, and that's what I'm trying to portray. I'm also trying not to go too excuse me. I'm also trying not to put too much detail too soon, because I'm going to have to go in there and shade it and stuff like that. If I do too much detail now, when he's not quite, when his face and body structure isn't quite there, it's not going to look right. And that was the other thing, the nose was not quite right either, because he's got quite a sharp nose. So let's be bold and really get rid of his nose. So as I say, he's got a really sharp, nose. I might be overdoing it a bit. And it's also quite long as well. I've probably not made his long enough as well. Um, kind of squarish there. Now that's interesting because I think that means that the eyes are wrong, are in the wrong location. So again, going to be really radical and remove the eye and bring it up. Now it might mean the forehead will have to go up, but that's fine. This is all about getting him looking like the guy he's supposed to be. And he's got very, very starey eyes, very, very not bulging, but they're definitely quite piercing. And then I'm being very radical with this part because I want to get this right. See, this one's almost squinting a little bit compared to the other eye. Right, okay, if I move, take that off a little bit, because it's a little bit more straight than that, than I've made it. I'm certainly feeling a bit more accurate. Still not completely satisfied with the left eye, or the right eye rather. Where's his eyeball? Getting the eyes to look matching is quite a trick. Because not only do you need to make sure they're the same size, but also that they don't look boss-eyed. And it's actually quite a trick when you're doing a realistic character. It's quite a trick to try and get it looking right. Right, the sneer is definitely coming along. Just think he's smiling. It looks like he's smiling a bit too much, so I'm trying to do it so he's not smiling. If the music is too loud, do let me know, because I can't actually hear it through these headphones. So do let me know if the music is a bit too loud. Ah, that's better. Right. I think I kind of know why this eye doesn't look right. It's too high for one thing. And a little too small. Okay, so let me redo this pupil. Okay. Right, I think I've got to redraw the eye completely. Seems like I'm just wasting my time, but if I get this wrong, it doesn't look like him. I won't do him the justice he deserves, you know? In fact, let me move my camera down a bit so you can see his face a bit more clearly. There you go. So you can sort of see, you should be able to see in a minute what he's supposed to look like. Ugh. Oh, that's well off. Oh, that's okay. That was completely okay. Let's back to the drawing board on this eye. It's really important to get this eye correctly. Correct. Wow, tough, man. I know some people with portraits, they find they're more natural. I say not. I say this very loosely. They're more naturally gifted towards portraits. As well, some people do portraits, some people do landscape, some people do, sci-fi, fantasy, or weapons, or whatever, architecture. Everybody's got their own different skill set. And it's more because they're driven to that particular style of artwork. Not everybody is going to be a portrait artist. Not everybody's going to be an illustrator. Not everybody's going to be a game designer. You know what I mean? So everybody's got their own different skill level, skill sets. And mine is definitely not portraits. I say I've done them in the past, but I'm not keen on, because I really struggle with them. I do struggle with doing portraits. Right, as you can see. Just struggling to get this eye right. The face is definitely starting to look like him, but just trying to get this eye to look on point. I'm not quite sure why it's not working out. I'm making it too big. Is that what it is? I don't know. Just struggling to figure out what it is. Easier said than done. I'm thinking perhaps that needs to come down a bit. Okay. I'm starting to think that might be more accurate. I might be wrong. It's probably about as accurate as I can get it. So I'm going to have to stick with that for now. Right. Right, trying to refine his cheek a bit now. Just trying to rein it in. Okay. fact, I think it comes in a bit sooner than that. See, the thing I'm not worried about is I'm not worried about the arm and the hand, although the hand needs to be smaller. You know, that's just an arm. It's the face that's got to count. He's got to look at least somewhat like the guy it's supposed to be. Otherwise, this whole thing isn't going to work. In fact, let's get rid of this chin as well because it's not quite right. But again, he's slowly starting to look like it's supposed to be. Slowly but surely. I think that needs to come in a little tighter. It's like when I did the Joker piece not too long ago. The first version, it wasn't too bad for you know, for somebody was quite young and not skilled with that, but the second version came out a heck of a lot better. Okay, right, so his hairline is a lot higher than I've made it, but that's okay. That is what this is all about, is learning where everything fits properly. Because the ear comes sort of just below the cheek. Okay. In fact, this is a little bit sharper than I've made it. Meaning that probably needs to come in at an even better angle. I'd say it might take a few streams to get this right, but it's definitely getting there. I think definitely, you know, although I've got a way to go still, I'm definitely starting to see a bit more closeness to what he looks like. I can definitely see the shape, you know, it shaping, and even like this, you know, the little smirk is a bit more well defined. In fact, a bit too wide there. Let's just move that in just to touch this little birthmarky thing. Okay. So it's not perfect, but I don't think I'll ever get it perfect. And the hairline's sort of up here actually. So let me just remove this hairline that I did earlier. Put his hairline a bit higher. So it's almost like a little crown shape almost. Yeah, it's definitely starting to feel a lot more accurate. I mean, there will be people that can do this much better than I could. So I do appreciate you, sticking with me with this. But hopefully, the end result will be worth the challenges that this has caused to get this even streamed. But I will put this on YouTube once it's done, so it will be there for people to watch afterwards. Now, try and get the hair shape decent enough. His haircut's almost Wolverine-esque in nature, actually. Not quite, but there's that Wolverine-esque roundness to it. All right. I was starting to think this pupil might be in the wrong place. Okay. Hopefully he doesn't on the book side. I hope he doesn't. Well, compared to the last time I did this, he's a lot better. Definitely it's improved. I'm just wondering whether I should make the nose a little smaller than I've made it. So I'm in silent mode again. So I don't do portraits very often for this very reason. But I figure this was worth it in this one. Let's bring your chin in a bit more. This is the thing about sketching or any kind of drawing is a lot of people tend to think that when you draw, you're supposed to just draw it straight and it's done. But there's a lot of refining that goes on. It's, you know, you start off. I mean, there are times when you can just pick up a pencil and you just draw something and it's there. But particularly, when it's something you've not drawn before or something new, or you know, you're doing, you know, you want to kind of take it. You want to get really accurate or whatever. It does take a little bit more work than what people often realize. You know, so often, you know, I was speaking to one client recently, and you know, they were expecting the artwork to be done within 2 weeks. It's like, but you want a whole logo with full color, and it's quite a very detailed piece. They don't fully always understand that certain pieces of work do take time. Now, if you just wanted to draw a cartoon character, that would have taken, yeah, I don't know exactly how long it would take. It would depend on the level of the character, but a cartoon character, just you know, literally a couple of lines or whatever, a sketch wouldn't have taken long. But if you want to fully digitize it with all the colors and everything else, you know, fully rendered, these things take time. And you think about it like a Pixar movie. You know, whenever you see like the Toy Story or these films come out, they're done often years, 2 or 3 years in advance to get it completed. Even with, you know, big film crew and all of that, these things do tend to take a bit of time. And a lot of time people don't fully appreciate that. And the point I'm kind of making is that, you know, as you can see with this piece, it's kind of like sculpting in a lot of ways. It is kind of like sculpting. You know, you're refining, you're working out where everything's supposed to go. And particularly if you're, you know, in this case, I'm trying to draw a very famous actor and make people at least recognize that, oh yeah, that's Spartacus. Oh, that's Kirk Douglas from Spartacus. Granted, I don't feel this is completely a spot-on image of, you know, spot-on accurate depiction of him, but for my level of skill, it's not a bad start. And maybe later on, maybe another day, I'll retry it. Who knows? And reattempt it and do it a bit better. When my portrait skills get improved, but at the moment they're not there. But for my, you know, for the level I'm at, I'm happy with it. And it's not for somebody, so I'm not doing it. I'm not trying to fault to someone and say this is an exact portrait of such and such a person. And people that do portraits do have to sort of practice as well. They have to kind of spend their time learning the skill. But it's sculpting. You have to shape it. You have to keep molding and shaping it like you would with clay. And sort of going back to the point I was trying to make is, a lot of people, when they want to try and learn how to do art, they get, unless they're really passionate about it, they easily can get despondent and think like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it, not be able to get there, because what they're doing is they're expecting that once you put the pen to paper, the picture's going to suddenly be there and you're going to have a perfect drawing of whatever it is you're trying to create. But that's not how it works. Even seasoned artists, now they can probably do it quicker. So someone that's really good at portraits, for example, would have already probably started detailing this guy, and they probably wouldn't have even done all the construction lines like I've done. They would have just gone straight in, because they know how to do a portrait without too much. I don't want to say too much effort,